Syrian President Assad denies using chemical weapons on his own people. He made the comments during an interview in Damascus with CBS This Morning co-host Charlie Rose.
Well, he denied that he had anything to do with the attack. He denied that he knew, in fact, that there was a chemical attack, notwithstanding what has been said and notwithstanding the videotape.
The Obama administration has been showing members of Congress dozens of videos of the attack. White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough believes that the evidence is undeniable.
I've spent the last couple weeks talking to dozens of members of Congress. To a person, they do not rebut or deny or negate the intelligence. So that tells us that we all believe that on August 21st, he used chemical weapons against his own people in what is the largest chemical weapons attack in nearly 3 decades.
Here on the Hill, lawmakers are still split over what to do in Syria. Anti-war activists are taking to the streets, and polls show that Americans are tired of war. And members of Congress are listening.
There's overwhelming disapproval for this war. I can't come up with a reason right now why the United States should support this action.
President Obama will address the nation on Tuesday night, looking to make the case for intervention directly to the American people. Kylie Atwood, CBS News, Washington. "50 years ago, the Fort Worth skyline lit up to welcome President Kennedy. When the President and First Lady got to their hotel suite, they found a collection of priceless art. Ruth Carter Stevenson, a local art enthusiast and daughter of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram founder, Amon Carter, was the primary force behind getting this Picasso sculpture and 15 other top-notch pieces of art into the Kennedys' suite.
At the time, that decor was, sort of standard prints and things like that.
They kind of raced it to another level.
They are now reunited at the Amon Carter Museum in Fort Worth.
Classic works of American
Last week,
art.
Bob Schieffer got a tour from the museum's curator, Shirley Reese Hughes.
They thought that Jacqueline was going to sleep in this particular room, and so they specified works of Impressionism, knowing her love of all things French. So they had the Van Gogh and the Maurice Prendergast.
In the president's room, the art was masculine and American. Thomas Aiken's Swimming hung over his bed.
It was not only the fact that it was this great American work, but also this nod to swimming and knowing JFK's history, his love of swimming, but also his heroism in World War II.
And these gloves in Marsden Harley's painting had political symbolism.
In part, there was that symbolism. We knew that Kennedy had come to Texas in part to sort of help mend political fences or bring the Democratic Party back together in a stronger sense. So that was in part an underlying theme.
That's great.
There was a slight mix-up.
I realized the next morning that the bathrooms had sort of given away, that the President and First Lady had switched rooms, that they found shaving cream in the bathroom off the room where the French Impressionist works were, and they found liquid makeup in the bathroom off the bedroom that they thought that JFK was supposed to sleep in. So they switched rooms, and we're not really sure why.
But we do know that the first couple was grateful for this collection. As President Kennedy left Fort Worth for Dallas, he called Ruth to thank her. As far as we know, that was the last phone call he ever made. Kylie Atwood, CBS News, Dallas. As week 2 of the government shutdown approaches, tensions in Washington are running high. There is no end in sight to the stalemate, and a new deadline for lawmakers is just around the corner. Kylie Atwood has the latest. Republican House Speaker John Boehner says President Obama will have to come to the negotiating table if he wants to increase the nation's borrowing limit before the U.S. runs out of money to pay its bills.
The votes are not in the House to pass a clean debt limit, and the president is risking default by not having a conversation with us.
The president wants a bill without any strings attached and says he will not compromise on his health care reform law.
I've said I am happy to have negotiations with the Republicans and Speaker Boehner on a whole range of issues, but we can't do it with a gun held to the head of the American people.
This standoff between the White House and lawmakers here on Capitol Hill could have serious consequences for the U.S. economy. If there's no agreement to raise the debt ceiling by October 17th, the U.S. will default on its bills. Treasury Secretary Jack Lew warns that a default could lead to a recession worse than 2008.
The stakes are really high. The American people have come out of the worst recession since the Great Depression.
On Monday, almost half of the American government workers will get back to work at their civilian posts with the Department of Defense. The Pentagon is ordering them back under the law Congress passed before the shutdown. But the hallways in the Capitol are bare, and Americans are angry. Some 400,000 workers are still not working because of the partial government shutdown. Kylie Atwood, CBS News, Washington.